benefits from each step. From each step. Step number one. When I say step, it means you have to go in the flow. In the sense, when I learn swimming, I learn how to stand, my hand position, everything. So in public speaking also, you have to learn like a skill only. So step number one, which normally people ignore, which is, let's understand that step with the help of this simple example. I was speaking here. It's a IIT Kharagpur event, huge marketing, and the marketing was like this, that IIT inviting top entrepreneurs, top leaders from the industry, and they will inspire students for entrepreneurship. I was sitting in the audience. My host invited the co-speaker. My co-speaker went on the stage. He had a small bottle in his hand, very small. This, you can see this Bisleri bottle where my cursor is. And I was observing him as a student of public speaking. I saw this gentleman standing, if I have to stand, this gentleman standing, corner of the stage, extreme corner of the stage. And he was closing the bottle, opening the bottle, closing the bottle, opening the bottle, closing the bottle, continuously it's happening. And face was down, not at all looking confident on the stage. Not at all looking confident. He has still not started the speech. Host is still reading the biodata. Imagine for a moment, you're not listening to the host that day, and just like me, observing the speaker. Your attention is only on the speaker. And you feel that, hey, IIT Kharagpur event, they said that top entrepreneurs, confident people are coming on the stage, but this gentleman is not looking confident. He's looking down. He's not at all looking comfortable on the stage. How many of you feel that that will be an unpleasant surprise for you? Click on A. I will be unpleasantly surprised, Praveen. Click on A. Or click on B. No, Praveen. A, if you will be unpleasantly surprised. Or B, no, Praveen. I will not be. A or B. A or B. Okay. Let me end the poll and let me share the results. 80% people and 20% people. 20% people said Praveen no, and 80% people said Praveen yes. Now understand the poll here. Every time when you are in the majority or minority, analyze. Now 20% people, because public speaking is all about public, if 80% people will be unpleasantly surprised, if you are in that situation, if you are on the stage, 80% audience will be unpleasantly surprised. Keep this in mind. Right? That's your personal perspective, which we have to respect, when you have to respect. But public speaking is for public. We are doing it for public. This particular concept is very well explained by Mark Bowden. Just write down his name. Mark Bowden. Mark Bowden again is expert in body language. And one of his TEDx talks in TEDx Toronto, he has revealed one study and beautifully explained, and that's the reason I'm strongly recommending you to watch that TEDx talk. But the synopsis of that TEDx talk is, it takes only 10 to 11 seconds for the audience to decide whether they like you or they don't like you. I repeat, it takes only 10 to 11 seconds for the audience to decide whether they like you or they don't like you. But the problem is, when we like someone, we like everything about that person. And when you don't like someone, we don't like anything about that person. That happens in your personal relationships also. The psychology is same. So if you like someone, then you will like everything. If you don't like, then you don't like anything. So it is so important to understand this, ladies and gentlemen. In public speaking, the first step is what we have to do even before we speak. And when I say before we speak, I'm talking about just not previous night under before we speak. How do we practice? Even that's a different, completely different area. Practicing in front of mirror is not a correct way of practicing. But even that is before we speak. But I'm talking about a very short window before we speak, there is a 10 to 12 or 10 to 15 seconds, even before we start our presentation. Are there any techniques and methods so we can apply in those 10 to 15 seconds so audience look towards us like this, they like us even before we start speaking on the stage? Is there any technique available? Are there any techniques available? Right? Of course there are. But sometimes, in case if you're thinking, Praveen, are these techniques so important? It's just like when you learn swimming skill, you ask yourself, is it so important to keep my hands like this when I enter into the water? Of course it is. If you don't keep hand like this, your entry into water will not be smooth. And if you keep your hand like this, your entry will be smooth. This decides, right? Your hand position. Similarly, if you learn the techniques and methods of before we speak, it will help you to enter into your presentation, your talk, your speech smoothly. So let's learn that today. There are several techniques and methods. We will learn one. I will explain, I will demonstrate. At the same time, I will show you example of one international speaker. So you can see how internationally also, in international big forums, the same technique which we are discussing today, the same technique which I am prescribing and recommending to you to implement in your life, how others are using it in that kind of forum. The name of the technique, kindly write it down. It's called pause and pan. In the area of public speaking, the name which we have given to this technique is called pause and pan. Let's understand one by one. See, all the techniques and methods of public speaking is somehow related with the psychology of the audience or human behavior because we are speaking in front of public only. Let's understand pause, then we will understand pan. Let's understand pause first. Many times I have seen people, as soon as they reach on the stage, or sometimes even they have just taken the staircase, not even taken the middle of the stage, they start speaking. As soon as they come on the stage, they start speaking. And when I say stage, I'm not at all talking about that big elevated platform. Even in the small conference room, if your boss is inviting you and stand in front of that blackboard, whiteboard, or the screen, that's a stage. Every time when you separate yourself from the crowd, you stand alone, that's a stage, right? Remember that every time when I use the word stage. So imagine that you're on the stage. Many times we just start quickly, don't start. Take a pause. That pause will make you very uncomfortable initially when you are not learning it. It will make you uncomfortable, right? Because we don't have a habit of doing that. But take a pause. Take the middle of the stage. Take a pause. The reason why we should take the pause, because moment you do something which is not matching the expectation of the audience will give attention. Most of the time, audience expect from us to come on the stage and start suddenly, instantly. But because here you're taking a pause, audience, arey, is not speaking. But of course, the audience should not feel, hey, has he forgotten about? No. So in that pause, we have to do two things. First, smile. Keep your smile on. Understand, smile is a manifestation of happiness. What do you mean by that? Smile we don't have to learn. Even in the womb, child smiles, right? On day one, child, not only I'm talking about human child, I'm talking about planet, all the animals, they smile. So when we are happy, when we are comfortable, we smile. And when we smile, it makes others also comfortable. So it's contagious. So keep that smile on. Smile is a certificate of confidence, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm talking about genuine smile. I'm not talking about unnecessary plastic smile. No, genuine smile. After that, you have to pan the audience. Pause. Keep the smile on. Pan the audience. Let me explain what do you mean by panning the audience before I show you the example of one international speaker. Panning the audience is this. You come on the stage, take the middle of the stage, pause, smile, and divide the audience in three parts. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. Doesn't matter what kind of sitting it is, but three parts. And then pick from each part randomly. Don't look for someone, randomly one person. Just pick it randomly one person and give a deep eye contact to that person. Right? Something like this. I come on the stage and then I look towards one, two, three. It will make you uncomfortable initially, just like when you started driving, it will make you uncomfortable, no problem in that. But understand the science behind it. Let me show you that example, then I will explain the science behind it. What is the reason why we use pause and pan? This particular example is an example of Darren Tay. Now, Darren Tay is a world champion of public speaking, and the speech, for very few seconds I'm going to show that speech to you, only to understand pause and pan technique. That particular speech, or for that particular speech, he has won the world championship. Right? So let me show you that speech. You can just note down his name, Darren Tay. And if you want to watch the entire speech, worth watching, you can watch afterwards. Sit. Now observe him. 1, 2, 3. Now why he has done that? Many of us who are not a student of public speaking, not learn the techniques and methods, we feel that it's okay. What is the big deal of looking towards this and that, right? Even I can do that. Yeah, you should do that. You can do that. There's absolutely no difficulty in doing that. At least physiologically, psychologically, you might be a little uncomfortable initially, but once you practice, there's no difficulty. But understand the science behind it. What is the science behind it? Why we do that? What is the reason behind this? What is the logic behind this? You might have heard or watched this viral video where there's a village meeting going on, and there's one gentleman sitting in that village meeting and one gentleman standing and giving the talk, and the person who is sitting down in the middle of that crowd, he's busy in making tobacco. And when you make tobacco on your hand, towards the end in the process, to remove the residual, you do something like this. And he was so busy in making tobacco, and he did something like this, and all other people thought, okay, someone is clapping. They all started clapping. Even speaker thought, hey, someone is clapping for me. I don't know whether you have seen or not this video. But ladies and gentlemen, audience always behave in the unit. What do you mean by that? One person raising hand, another person raising hand, or all are raising hand. One person clapping, all starts clapping. How many of you have observed this? Click on A, that yes, Praveen, even we have observed this, that audience always behave like a unit. One person standing, all people are standing. Click on A. Click on B. No, Praveen, we have never observed this. A or B, A or B, A or B. Okay, let me end the poll and let me share the results with you. Right? 93% people, they said Praveen. Around 6 to 7% people said Praveen. No, we have never observed this. But that's how it is. Audience behave like a unit. When we use the pan technique, and when we look towards the right, if the right person feels connected, because audience behave like a unit, right feel connected. The middle, one person feels connected, the middle feel connected. The left, one person feel connected, the left will feel connected. And even before you start speaking, the audience is feeling connected with you. What is the objective of step number 1? Can I do something even before I speak so audience feel connected? I look confident on the stage. So next time when you're going on the stage, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you are not in a hurry to speak. Take a pause. Make audience a little uncomfortable. Make sure you have a smile on your face so they don't misread that pause that you have forgotten about. And then pan the audience. Audience will feel that, hey, this person is calm, composed, relaxed. And moment you are calm, composed and relaxed, understand, you take any meeting, Not necessarily the person who is shouting unnecessary is winning the argument. Maybe the person who is calm, composed, relaxed, and respect each and every word when we speak. If you find that kind of person, that's the person who wins the argument. Even in, just not in public speaking, in any type of conversation in life. So use the pause and pan technique next time. One precaution, my humble request, do not use pause and pan technique when you are using Zoom meetings or live webinars. Pause and pan technique is not for those kind of scenarios. Pause and pan technique, especially for those kind of situations where the audience is genuinely or physically sitting in front of you. Okay. Now, this is one way, ladies and gentlemen, one technique we have learned. When we say that, Praveen, you're asking us to learn public speaking skills. What do you mean by that? It means that you have to learn the 4-step system, and under each step, there are several techniques and methods. But the objective remains the same. The objective of step number 1 is justify this word, speaking. That even before I speak, I should look like a king and queen on the stage. The word speaking itself has KING in it. 14 to 15 seconds initially, those initial few seconds are so critical. So make sure that you're not looking nervous, because even in this live webinar we have seen that more than 90% people, they will take the decision whether they're liking or not liking. Let's move forward. In step number 2. In step number 2, if you go in the flow in public speaking, of course, after that pause and pan, but obvious, we have to start. But how do I start my presentation? How do I start my talk? Many times, one of the most common starts I have seen, and I would love to know your view and agreement on this, is something like this. You will see, even I have spent 20 years in the industry now, 10 years in corporate, 10 years in entrepreneurship journey. I started speaking on the stage just 3.5 years ago. Before that, I witnessed this. I use this kind of starts. The starts are, I go on the stage and I start like this. Good morning. Good morning. What happened? No breakfast. Good morning. And third attempt, people will say good morning, or they reply to your good morning. Start like this. Or maybe starts like this. If you have a presentation just before the lunch. So ladies and gentlemen, this is not the right time to start the presentation. I know the lunch is waiting for us. I have seen this kind of starts. Or start like this. If the presentation is after the lunch, this is not the right time to start the presentation. I saw you eating those gulab jamuns, very difficult time. I've seen this kind of starts. But one start which is very common I have seen. Imagine there is a digital marketing conference going on. Let's take this example. There's a digital marketing conference going on. You come, I'm a speaker there, and you invite me on the stage. Let's welcome Mr. Praveen Wadalkar. And I come on the stage, and I say something. I start like this. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Praveen Wadalkar, and today I'm going to speak on digital marketing. Tell me, how many of you have heard this kind of start? Good morning. My name is ABC, and I'm going to speak on XYZ. Click on A. Click on A. Or click on B. No, Praveen, we have never heard something like this. A, if you have heard. B, if you have not. A or B, A or B, A or B. Okay, let me end the poll and let me share the results. 93% people this Praveen, yes, we have heard. And 7% people said Praveen, no, we have not heard. See, ladies and gentlemen, if you critically observe, if it is a digital marketing conference, and I'm coming on the stage and I'm saying that, hey, I'm going to speak on digital marketing, I'm sharing something which you're already aware of. And if I am the invited speaker on the stage, then host must have invited me with the name. You don't just go on the stage like that. Even if someone is not inviting, imagine that your boss is not inviting you with your name, but your colleagues, they know your name. I've seen in my company sometime when people in annual meeting, they come on the stage and they speak there, they tell my name is XYZ. And I said, hey, wait a minute, you eat with them every day. They know your name. What is the logic of you sharing something which they are already aware of? People do this only because they don't know what are the key objective of how to start. Let's learn that. The two objectives. First is compulsory, second is optional. The first objective is, can I do something in front of the audience which will catch the attention of the audience? Why? Understand this with the help of these poll results. Tell me, how many of you have experienced this in your life, that you're sitting in the audience, someone is speaking in front of you, you are looking towards that someone, nodding the head also sometimes in between, acknowledging that yes, you are listening, but thinking about something else only in mind and not actively listening. Click on A if this is common according to you, or click on B, no Praveen, this is not common. A, thinking about something else only and just pretending that you are listening to someone. A or B, A or B, A or B. Okay, let me end the poll. Let me end the poll and share the results with you. So the bad news for you, 10% people, see 10% people who said, Praveen, no, I don't think like that. You must be very good in active listening. But the bad news is, when you are speaking on the stage, 90% people on the stage, they're not even listening to you. They're just pretending they're listening to you. It's very common. Mind is busy. Unfortunately, we are the only species on this planet Earth who uses languages to communicate. No other species does that. But because we have that long language, we keep repeating the content in our mind. That's a disadvantage of language. See, the very invention of the language was to communicate with other people, but unfortunately, we use this language to communicate with ourselves also. Let's not go on that page today. But it's just like when you repeat one thing again and again, it's just you are writing one thing again and again on the sheet of paper, and it's difficult to use. Same, we are using the language in our mind. Let's come back. The reason why I'm saying this to you, that why I've asked this question to you, and 90% people said, Praveen, yes, we just pretend that we are looking towards or we are listening. That might be the reason that we take three attempts to reply to that good morning. We don't reply it first time, second time, third time. It means it becomes utmost important for us, if this is the truth, and if you really respect your content, the truth is that 90% people are not actively listening to you, it becomes utmost very critical for you to start in such a way that you catch the attention of the audience first. What are the techniques and methods? We will learn. But first understand what is the objective. The first objective is, can I start after that pause and pan? Can I start? Can that first line I design in such a way that it takes the attention of the audience, active attention of the audience? How to do that? Let's understand. That is step number one, or objective number one rather. Objective number two, which is optional, not every time possible, is at the start only can I tell the audience that where I'm going to take. What is speaking? Taking your audience from A to B. Now this B has to be slightly elevated. This elevation could be education, inspiration, motivation, it could be anything. But at the start only can you tell the audience that, hey, here is the bus which is going to go to your station, board the bus. Is it possible to do that? We will understand with the help of examples, but two objectives. A good start should achieve these two objectives. First, catch the attention of the audience. You cannot catch the attention of the audience by telling something which they know. My name is Praveen Vadalkar. Digital marketing, they're aware about that. So do something, catch the attention. Second thing, A to B. Let's understand with the help of examples. Two examples I will share with you. One which is very close to my heart. The name we have given to this example is called I remember. I repeat, I remember. What do you mean by that? I remember. I remember is a modern way of saying once upon a time. I remember is a modern way of starting a story. And when I say story, I'm not at all talking about Chanda Mama and Harry Potter story. I'm talking about simple, personal experience converted into a good quality content, which everyone has. Everyone has a story here. Everyone should go on TEDx stage if you have a story. It's all about finding that content and packaging and presenting it effectively in front of people. How do I implement this? Let's understand the same example, digital marketing. Imagine there's a digital marketing conference, and I think that, okay, tomorrow, imagine I have an invite for a digital marketing conference. How do I start? Instead of keeping that question pending, which many times people keep this question pending only. They see the presentation, but how do I start? Can I fix my start also? Because if it is a skill, each and everything has to be fixed and implemented if it is a skill. Okay? So I decide that, okay, this is how I'm going to start. So I go on the stage and I said, I will use this technique called I remember. I go on the stage, I look towards you. After that pause and pan, when you are waiting for me to speak, my first line is this. I say, I remember 3 years ago I was struggling in my business, and then we decided to adopt digital marketing strategies, and within 3 years we have grown by 300%, ladies and gentlemen. Today in this conference I'm going to share with you my 5 best digital marketing strategies which can take your business to the next level. Good morning. My name is Alkar. Let's start. Now, you only tell me which is better according to you. This one, which we will explore on the screen. I will show you the template. This one, or this one. Good morning. My name is Alkar, and today we are going to talk about digital marketing, the traditional one. Tell me, which one is better, the traditional one or the modern one? If the modern one, click on A. If the traditional one, click on B. The modern one, no problem, the modern sounds better compared to traditional. Or click on B, no problem, the traditional is much better. A or B, A or B, okay. Let me end the poll and let me share the results. 91% people said modern. So there's a learning for 9% people, as I said earlier also. Every time when you are in majority or minority, understand there is a learning there. So learning for you 9% people, because 91% people want speaker to use the modern techniques and methods, and we speak not for us, we speak for the audience. It doesn't matter whether you like sine theta or cos theta, you have to learn sine theta and cos theta. Right? Now let's understand this on the screen. Plus minus here and there, I must have said this. I remember 3 years ago we were struggling in business, then we decided to adopt digital marketing strategy, and in the last 3 years we have grown by 200%. Now, I've written story in the bracket. We will come back to this slide again once we enter into step number 3. Right? But I used a story to start. Something which I have experienced in my life, which is so unique, different, because the objective is to catch the attention of the audience. And because I know that people, they gravitate or they like personal experience, they're always interested in the personal experience. Say example, you're a sales manager, you come on the stage and you say, you're standing in front of your sales team and you come and you say, I remember a few days ago I met one of my very important clients and learned something very critical. Let me share that learning with you, boys and girls. That learning will help you to achieve your sales target. I, as a person, I will feel, oh my God, my boss is sharing something very personal. Can I use the personal experience to catch the attention of the audience in the light of the fact that more than 90% people are just looking towards you and not actively listening to you? Can I use the advantage or power of stories to catch the attention? And then of course, if possible, you can always tell the audience at the start only, where are you taking them? Example, you are a coach, you are a parenting coach, and you come on the stage and you say, I remember just few years ago my relationship with my child was not good. There was pain, agony, hatred. But then I did something. And ladies and gentlemen, in the last few years it has completely changed, and I'm going to share those techniques and methods with you which can redefine your relationship with your child. Let's start. Personal experience. The power of personal stories. Not necessarily tear-jerking stories or you are weeping out of emotion. No, not necessarily. But personal experience. I remember is nothing but starting your starting your presentation with your personal experience. Now, tell me, even before we enter into the second part, how many of you had this feeling in your mind when I was sharing this that Praveen, is this really possible to implement in day to day life, in real life? Let me ask this question on the poll. How many of you had this feeling that Praveen, is it really implementable in our day to day life? Click on A or click on B. No, Praveen, I don't have that kind of feeling. A, if you have. B, if you don't. A or B? A or B? Okay. Very nice. 82% people will say Praveen A and 18% people say Praveen. Oh. So congratulations 82% people. If you are feeling uncomfortable, if you are feeling that, hey, is it really possible to implement? It means you are learning something new. It means you are looking or getting something new. But this is how it happens with all the skills. On day one, you enter into water to swim, you will be uncomfortable. On day one, you enter in that car to drive, you will be uncomfortable. Whenever we learn a new skill, you become uncomfortable. My second example will help you to understand whether it is really possible to implement the skills in day to day life or not. All those people who are there in this webinar from the start, exactly from 11 a.m., what technique I have used today to start my presentation. Let me explain that technique that might remind you which technique I have used today. The technique which I have used today is the power of social consciousness. I remember is the power of story. This is the second technique. Again, objective has to be same. Power of social consciousness. The phrase we use is there is something common in all of us at the start. What do you mean by that? Understand the technique first. Power of social consciousness means whenever we sit among few people in the middle of the audience, we're always conscious about each other. You say, Praveen, I'm sitting in the middle of the audience and I have completely isolated myself, not even thinking about other people. You must be a good student of meditation, right? And might be doing this for last many decades. We are always conscious about others. It's a power of social consciousness. Can I use this feature of humanity or human beings to catch the attention of the audience? Let me explain this, how I have implemented in this one scenario, and then you can easily connect this with how I have started this live webinar also. I was here as a part of panel discussion. As I told you, public speaking is just not standing on the stage and dancing from here and there. Even if you're a part of panel discussion, public is there in front of you. So public speaking, whenever you speak in front of public. And the host said that everyone has to give quick introduction. So I thought which technique I should use today. So decided to use this particular technique. Who were there in front of me that day? All the top leaders from the pharma industry, the CEOs and CFOs and CXOs, because it was an award night from Indian Express. So my first line was like this. One traditional ways know that. Traditional ways. Thank you very much for inviting me. My name is Praveen Wadalkar and I'm a CEO of blah 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 and the rest of it. That's a traditional way, right, of giving the introduction, which is there in their notebook or maybe in their brochure or maybe in the invitation card. The modern way. After that pause and pan, I looked towards them with a smile on my face and I said, what is common in all these people? So this was the start. I said, I believe there is one thing common in all of us who are sitting right now in this conference room. We believe in this. That what is the logic of making life-saving drugs if they are not affordable to human beings? It's because of Indian pharmaceutical companies, millions of people globally, they have access to quality affordable medicines and they're living productive life. I think we all should clap for this performance. They all started clapping. There was no Praveen Wadalkar in this. There was no my company, which is already there, but they all started clapping. And then, maybe towards the end, thank you very much. My name is Praveen Wadalkar. Looking forward for this conversation today. That's it. But even before I revealed my name out of just sake of that discipline which we maintain on the stage, same technique I have used today also. I started with what? I started with sharp 11 a.m. Let's respect time. And then I said, all those people who are live right now, there's one thing common. We all respect time. Just not because we are starting at 11 a.m., but you are investing your time to learn something. And then we all started writing C in the chat box. We started congratulating each other. I never started with this, that good morning, what a beautiful morning today. My name is Premolakar, thank you very much. No, I never started with that, right? Because there's no logic of you attending my live webinar and I starting with my live webinar by telling my name to you. So ladies and gentlemen, there are several ways and techniques and methods of starting the presentation, but the science behind it, remember this live webinar, 90% people, they are just looking towards you, not even listening to you. In the light of that, it is so important for you to start in such a way you actually catch their attention. Moment you say, I remember, people will, okay, what you are remembering from your life? Moment you say there is something common in all of us, you say, what is common in all of us? That catches the attention. One question coming in my mind, and let me ask that question. How many of you think, Praveen, we have spent 56 minutes? Yes, we are learning from this webinar. Click on A. Yeah, we are learning, Praveen. Click on A. Click on B. No, Praveen, I'm not learning anything. A, I'm learning. B, I'm not learning. A or B. A or B. A or B. Let me end the poll and let me share the results with you. 96% people and 4% people said, Praveen, no, we are not learning. Let's move forward. And not the the reason I ask this question, because one thing which I've learned in public speaking skill is this: if you really want to stay focused completely on the content, nothing should take your attention away from the content. No thought. Moment thought, a root thought has come, stop that thought there only, instead of multiplying or allowing that thought to perpetuate. So we do that. So the thought came in my mind and I asked in the poll. Now I know that 4% people are not learning, 96% people are learning, right? Let's enter into step number 3, which is the most important step of public speaking. Nothing more important than this. Are we good on time? Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are good on time. Nothing more important than this. This step number 3 is the heart of the story. And step number 3 is we go on the stage to deliver the content. Content is the king. How to make my content effective, we will learn that today. How to make my content interesting, we will learn that today. But before we enter into content, we have to understand one very critical thing with the help of this study done by Albert Mehrabian. Write down his name in case if you are taking notes, do yourself a favor. Albert Mehrabian. He is a scientist, researcher, professor, done exemplary amount of work on communication. 45 years ago, he did one trial on public speaking, and that particular trial has changed the way we look towards public speaking skills. Even after 45 years, experts say that this is one of the most important trials or studies available in public speaking. The study is this: what decides the effectiveness of communication? Content, of course. Then second is body language according to the study, and third is vocal variety. But in this study, they have given percentage to each. What percentage content is important, what percentage body language, and what percentage vocal variety. Now, in case if you have attended my live webinar before also, or this part before also, don't be in a hurry to write the answer in the chat. But I would love to know, especially those people who are attending or meeting me for the first time. In this study, when they have given percentage to each, according to you, tell me what percentage they might have given, which is your perception. What percentage you will give to body language, what percentage to content, and what percentage to vocal variety. Give me 3 numbers. First for content, second for body language, third for vocal variety. Write in the chat. Give me 3 numbers. The summation has to be 100%. For example, Pritham has written 60, 20, 20. Minakshi has written 50, 25, 25. Satyam, then Kaji, and then Aryan, and then now it's running fast. We can't read it. But keep an eye. And don't be that person who has the answer in the mind but not writing in the chat. Make sure, in case if you're not in the position to write, you're lying down, make sure, take some efforts, get up, access the chat, and write down in the chat. Right? 70, 20, 30. Now observe. Let's take one by one together. Let's take content. See the range 20, 60, 50, 10. Vocal body language 20, 25, 33, 60. I'm just randomly reading the number which are coming in front of me. And vocal variety also. See the range. Right? The range is there. What do you mean by range? Someone is feeling body language is important, someone is feeling vocal variety is important, someone is feeling content is important. But let's see what is the study, what is the output of this study. The output of this study might surprise you unpleasantly. So hold on. Make sure you are not jumping on the results. Every number has a story behind it. You will understand the results in the correct context. The result is this: 55, 38, 7. 7% content, 55% body language, 38% vocal variety. What do you mean by that? Let me ask this question. How many of you are raising your eyebrows and saying, Praveen, really? I don't agree to this. Click on A. Really? I don't agree to this. Click on A. Or click on B. No, Praveen, I do. A? No, I don't agree to this. B? I do. A or B? A or B? A or B? Okay, let me end the poll and let me share the results. So 57% people and 43% people, they said we agree. So it's just like whether you agree to sin theta or cos theta or not, or whether you agree to those theorems or not, if they are study based, if they are research based, if they are peer reviewed, if they are authentic, then we have to accept it in our life. That's how we develop skills. Correct? So what is the conclusion? 55, 38, 7. What do you mean by that? Is that mean the content is not important according to this study? Not at all. What is the objective of this study? The objective of this study is what decides the effectiveness of communication, in very simple words. What decides whether when you will go on the stage, people will listen to you or not listen to you? That's an objective. That was the objective of this study. So it says this, that even if you have the world's best content, world's best PPT, world's best story, but if your body language and vocal variety, when I say body language, your body, your hands, your legs, if your body language is not supporting your content, if you're speaking like this, world's best content, speaking like this, moving on the stage from here to there, or putting the hands in the pocket, right? Or completely looking nervous, face completely tight, right? This is your body language. Body speaks. The chances of you getting caught by a TC when you don't have a ticket in your pocket is much higher when you don't have. Then you always feel that why he stops me only when I don't have a ticket. Similarly, vocal variety. Vocal variety is what? It's just like you have the world's best guitar and you go on the stage and you play like this. Tung, 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 tung. Only one tone, one note. So even if you have the world's best content, but if the voice which you are using to deliver that content, if that voice is monotonous, same pitch, no ups, no downs, no emotion in it. Vocal variety is all about putting the correct emotion behind each word. That is vocal variety. So even if the best content, with the body language and vocal variety not supporting this content, it is difficult for the audience to stay connected or focus on the content, because body language and vocal variety will take the attention, which is ineffective public speaking. Something happening on the stage which is taking the attention away from the content is not effective. It means that. So it's very important for you to learn the body language and vocal variety, but you have to respect time. You focus only on the content today. But let me ask this question in the poll. How many of you agree with this? Yes, Praveen. Content is important, we don't deny that, but body language and vocal variety, if they are not good, it might take the attention away from the content. Click on it. Click on it. Click on B if you know, no, Praveen, I don't agree to this. A or B? A or B? Okay, let me end the poll and let me share the results. Exactly. So around 94% people, and around, I think there's a glitch in Zoom now. Sometimes when we just suddenly stop the poll, the Zoom is still calculating. It shows some mismatch number. So around 95% people we agree, 5% people they say we don't agree. But let's focus on the content today. Let's keep body language, vocabulary aside for a moment. Let's focus on the content. One thing, ladies and gentlemen, which can make your content super interesting, can take the quality of your content to the next level. And that one thing is your ability to convert your personal experience into story capsules. Whenever I share a story, whenever I'm talking about stories, many people they have. Let me ask this question: how many of you, when I say story, you feel like this? Probably stories are not for us. We are professionals. We can't tell stories to our bosses or team members. How many of you have this kind of feeling or this kind of notion? Click on A, or click on B. No, Praveen, I don't think so. Or A, Praveen, stories are not for us. Or B, no, Praveen, stories are for us. A or B, A or B, A or B. Okay, I'm happy that we have the results. 40-60, and so 40% people, you should change this notion. And today, when you will understand how to pick stories and how to share stories in the conference room also, you will understand the power of stories. You should reconsider this notion, 40% people. Maybe you don't know how to convert stories or how to convert personal experience into story capsule, which we will learn very quickly now today here. There is a method called 3S method. Every story is a combination of only three simple points. And you learn that method. But one mistake which I see people do when they go on the stage and they share stories, they say something like this. So, ladies and gentlemen, today I have a story for you. Or today I would love to share a story with you. Or I want to share one story with you now. Never do that. Moment you say this, that I want to share a story. See, 40% people here said stories are not for me. Moment you say stories, somehow stories are associated with entertainment in our life. We trigger that zone. We don't share, or normally leaders, they don't share stories to entertain. Leaders share stories to educate, to inspire, to influence. So never say that I want to share a story today. Rather, you have to learn how to passively integrate stories in your content. For that, you have to learn 3S method. As I told you, we'll come back to this slide again. Let's understand 3S from this story. These are just two lines, but it's a complete story. So stories doesn't mean long stories. Stories means, do you have those three components or not? The first S of any story is setup. If it is a true story, it means I have to take the audience in the back. It's not possible to share a true story from the future or from the present, isn't it? It means something happened in the past. I remember when I was a child, yesterday as a leader, just 2 days ago when I met my client, I took the audience back. Setup has to be the first thing, otherwise it is so misleading and difficult for the audience to understand the story. Second, we share story only because we want to share certain unique learnings. And we learn only when we do something for the first time. And whenever we do something for the first time, we struggle. The second S of the story is struggle. No struggle, no story. That's gossip. There has to be struggle. We were struggling. The reason this line is there in these two lines, we were struggling in business because struggle is the important S, the very important second S in 3S. Then the third S. What we have learned from that struggle, or what we have achieved from that struggle. We have grown by 200%, achieved from that struggle, or what we have learned, success. Setup, struggle, success. When you have these three components, the combination of these three components is called a complete story. Let's have few examples. We will take two examples so you can understand and you can implement in your life. Let's take an example from a conference room. I'm standing in a small conference room. Even though it's a conference room, but I'm standing on the stage. In this particular scenario, I'm standing there with the capacity of a CEO of an IT company, and my role was to give my introduction of the company, and then hand over the session to my colleague. Right? Any senior person will do that. Now see how I'm using the same simple PPT, but converting that into a story. For example, these are the basic points which normally I make the PPT, or we make the PPT. Sometimes one point at a time, one slide. Sometimes we'll add images into it. But see, when we are converting this into a story, how it will sound. So I'm standing here, middle of the stage, pause and pan technique. And after that pause and pan, I start like this. One traditional way of starting, you also know that. Good morning, thank you very much for inviting me. So how are you, sir? How are you, madam? Okay, this is my card. And then you give the card, and my name is Parim Adalkar, and blah blah blah, and the rest of it. Is a traditional way of starting it. Okay? The modern way of starting. You take the pause and pan, and after pause and pan, you look towards them, and then you say something like this. I remember in year 2011, I was working as a senior marketing manager in a multinational company. And I observed that every industry was changing with the help of technology, but not the pharma industry. We thought there's an opportunity, and we launched Takaiza, healthcare IT company. Because we were representing first generation entrepreneurship, we struggled a lot initially, but we are happy to inform you that today we have a team of 150 people who believe in this belief that yes, a lot can be done with the help of technology even in pharma. With this belief, we are providing IT solutions to more than 75 companies across 13 countries. With this belief only, we got acknowledged by Economic Times as one of the most promising entrepreneurs of year 2019. With this belief, I hand over this session to my colleague. She will take it further from there. So I come and I have a standard start, and then I present, and then I move forward. Instead of giving the visiting card to them and reading the content of the visiting card, instead of just reading the slide on the screen, if you are reading the slide or content of the slide word by word, you're actually insulting the person who is sitting in the audience. You're telling that person, hey, listen, you can't read, let me read it for you. Don't do that. Use 3S method, possible in all situations, and convert your personal experience into a content. Here also, in the middle, I said, as a first generation entrepreneur, we struggled a lot. Added struggle purposefully. And so many times after the meeting, I have seen people coming to me and saying, hey Praveen, you're talking about that struggle. What happened? Tell us more. Struggle attracts people. So make sure, setup, struggle, success. Let's take one more example, then we'll move forward. Let's take example, a slightly a non-technical example. Imagine that example where the message I want to give as a storyteller is what to do when you feel like giving up in your life. Right? What to do when you feel like giving up. You don't want what to do in your life. Feel like giving up. That feelings come in your mind. So let's understand with the help of a story. Now be a student of storytelling. Observe what is setup, what is struggle, what is success. Correct? I come on the stage and I look towards you. And my first line. Even before I start this, even before I start this story, um, how many people here, before I give this example, how many people here, you have this kind of feeling that Praveen, I hesitate to share certain struggle of my life because I think what people will think, and I don't want to create that pity image in front of them. They should not feel that I'm trying to gain sympathy. How many of you feel like that? Just click on A. Click on it. Or click on B. No problem. I don't feel like that. A, you feel like that. B, you don't feel like that. A or B? A or B? Yeah. I'm so happy I've decided to ask this question even before I started the story. Otherwise, 74% people, they said Praveen. Yeah. See, understand. 74% people. That feeling is very natural, but understand, when you are when you are in the middle of your story, when you're struggling in your story, if your story is in the making, right? Your story is in the making. Never share the struggle of the story. Always share a struggle or always share a story when story is completed. You have already learned something from that struggle and you have moved in your life. Thumb rule number one. Why? Because if you're not doing that, you're actually underutilizing that content, underutilizing that story, because many people are maybe going through the same struggle, and then they feel that, okay, I'm not alone. Even he or she has gone through the same struggle, and this is what he or she has learned from it. So it becomes your responsibility as a good soul, it becomes your responsibility to share that story. And if you feel that, Praveen, what people will think about me, then there's too much of self obsession. Then you're thinking too much about yourself, what people are thinking about me. No. Rather, you have to accept this point that we are not going to visit this planet again. And if you have a story which has entered into a success phase, make sure you share with the world. Right? So let me share, keeping that in mind, let me share one story with you. But the objective of that story is what to do when you feel like giving up. Because there was a point in my life where I felt like I should give up in my life. It's enough. Right? So let me share. So this all started, or let me do it in a very formal way, as if this audience is there only for listening to this story. So I implement the techniques and methods which we are discussing today. I come on the stage and I look towards you and I say, I believe there is one thing common in all of us who are listening to me right now. We all have dreams, right? We have goals, vision, and we are working hard to move towards those dreams and visions and goals. And sometimes in your life, you get stuck. You're not able to move towards your dreams and you feel like giving up. Have you ever felt like that? Because I remember me and my wife were pursuing such dream, a dream of entrepreneurship. In year 2011, the first time we conceived this idea of starting our business, we thought it's difficult. No one in our generation did business before. My father was auto rickshaw driver. Her father was mechanic in Indian Railway. We were not MBA graduate. We completed almost 10 years in corporate together, but when you spend 10 years in corporate, you learn a lot, you earn very little. So no financial backup, no very significant saving, but we were not in the position to start business, but we thought, we have only one life, let's do it, let's try. And then we started. And ladies and gentlemen, I will not brag. It took just 1 year, to reach that point where I was feeling I should give up in my life now. I still remember the day when I witnessed or encountered this particular moment. Early in the morning, I was sitting in the office, and someone from my team, I will show that team to you. Someone from my team said, Praveen, you have a meeting today. I said, yeah, I know I have a meeting. And I decided to take my bag and I came outside. And one thing was bothering me continuously was I don't have even 20 rupees in my pocket to go for a meeting, because I wanted 20 rupees to buy a train ticket. And I called my wife outside. She's my wife. And I called her outside. I said, hey, I have a very important meeting and I don't have money. Do you have 20 rupees by any chance? She looked towards me. And sometimes in relationship, ladies and gentlemen, we don't need words to speak. Silence is enough. And she was looking towards me. And maybe that silence was screaming that, Praveen, 1 year ago we took the decision of quitting our job and starting our business. We left those luxurious days and life. But in last 1 year, we have lost everything, Praveen. Just not our bank balance, saving, mutual fund, or gold. We also started selling refrigerator, washing machine, sofa to manage a small business. So somehow I think she was saying to me that, Praveen, I know you don't have 20 rupees in your pocket, honey, but I have to inform you that we don't have 20 rupees in our bank also. So I decided to go home. I thought, I will find something there. Reached home, opened the door. My son was sitting down playing with some plastic toys. Started searching 20 rupees in the hall. It was not there. Entered into kitchen. I thought I will get something. Because Indian ladies always have a habit of keeping something somewhere. It was not there. Then I entered into bedroom and let me show you the same what I saw that day. I saw this. A small, round piggy bank of my own 6 years old son. And I was elated. I said, wow, finally I got 20 rupees because there was 20 rupees in this piggy bank. I only gave my son coin by coin, coin by coin. And he collected it, kept it safe there. And when I was moving towards this piggy bank, suddenly one thought came in my mind. And that thought was, if I'm taking money from this piggy bank and if my son comes from behind and asks me, what are you doing, Dad? Will I able to answer that question? So I stopped. I slightly closed the door from his side. Because somewhere one father was hiding this fact from his son. That somewhere on the planet Earth, one father was robbing the piggy bank of his own 6 years old son. I took those coins in my pocket, moved from my main door. My son said, Dad, for a moment I thought he caught me red-handed or what. And walking on the road, that was the heaviest walk I've ever taken in my life. Maybe because of the weight of those coins. I stopped and I said, enough. It's not worth. I can't go below this. Took my phone out and about to call my boss, because my boss said, Praveen, you are giving the resignation, but the doors are always open for you. So I thought, let me call my boss and ask him, is the door still open for me, boss? Because I want to give up now. It's enough. Maybe entrepreneurship is not for me. Then I realized, is this the life which I want to live? I know we are doing something for the first time. No one in a generation did business before. And whenever we do something for the first time, it's absolutely okay if we fail. I'm stretching my limits beyond my capacity. It's absolutely okay if I'm fail. It's better not to do same thing, monotonous work again and again and feel successful. It's better not to go there and continue this, even if I'm failing. Me and my wife sat together and we decided, we accepted. Yeah, we failed. We lost everything. We stopped that business. We corrected the mistake. That business idea was incorrect. We launched a new business with nothing in our hand. Started slowly. And today the same company has around 200 people. The same company's got acknowledged by Economic Times. In last 10 years, ladies and gentlemen, me and my wife failed so many times. But every time when we fail, we feel that it's absolutely okay because we are doing something new. Something which is beyond our capacity. Something we have never done before. If someone sitting here never failed in your life, you are indirectly telling me that you have never done something which is beyond your capacity. That's the only life you have. Fail, ladies and gentlemen. But when you feel like giving up, if the goal, if the dream, if it is in front of you, there is no logic of taking a U-turn in life. You have to move forward. If you have tears in your eyes, cry but move forward. If you are tired, sit down, crawl and move forward. If you are finished, start from the scratch, but move forward. So next time if you feel that you want to give up in your life, accept it, that you have failed, but move forward. Because the dream, the goal, the vision is in front of you, not behind. Now that's a story. Right? Setup, struggle, success. Only one incident from my life to give the message. Let's see. If you fail, absolutely okay. Don't take it. Okay. So be a student of storytelling and just observe what was the setup, what was the struggle, what was the success. Everyone has stories, ladies and gentlemen. You have to just pick the stories from your life, use the techniques and methods, make it easy to deliver and easy for you, others to understand. Let's move forward. Let's respect time. Let's move forward. Now, the step number 4. What we have learned in step number 3. that we cannot ignore body language and vocal variety, that is 93%, but we have learned something which is very critical in content, your ability to add stories, even in profession. Even in profession, there is a scope. Not necessarily all the stories are emotional stories. Not necessarily you have to shed tears and weep out of emotion when you are telling the stories. Not necessary. All the stories are not meant for that. If there is a struggle, there is a learning. Set up struggle, share the success, that is story. Enter into step number 4. Oh my god. I don't know why people do this, but they do something. They end their presentation. One of the most common endings I have seen in last few years whenever I've gone for presentations is something like this. They end like this. They say, so how much time I have? Excuse me, is my time over? Right? You might have heard something ending like this. Or one ending. But by the way, moment you say that how much time I have, is my time over, it means you have no control on timing, it means you have no control on the content, it means your content is not organized. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, public speaking is all about organizing the content so audience can understand. One-to-one conversation is all about tailoring the content. You are meeting your individual, one individual. You tailor your content as per the person. The way you speak with your father and the way you speak with your mother on the same topic, different. You tailor your content. Public speaking is about organizing the content. One-to-one conversation is about tailoring the content. If you are not learning the techniques and methods of content organization, you're not learning, you're not doing public speaking, you're just going into chatting. So, and when you say that how much time I have, it means your content is unorganized, it means you're not doing public speaking. Public speaking is about take one message and deliver that message in an organized way. So, those kind of ends are not the correct way of ending. So, how do we end? One, I will share 2 techniques of ending. The objective of ending should be, like every step has an objective. The objective of ending is, can I keep the audience in my content even when I leave the stage? I've spoken for 60 minutes, I've left the stage, but can I end in such a way that audience is still in my content? That is the objective of ending the presentation, right? Several techniques, let's use 2 today. One is called go back to start. Go back to start means, example, digital marketing conference, and I end like this. Same example of digital marketing we have used in step number 2, and I end like this. I say, ladies and gentlemen, in last 45 minutes I've shared with you my 5 best digital marketing strategies. If you implement this in your life, it will help you to improve your business. I am just going back to start again. I'm just repeating the start again. When you do that, you're actually telling the audience, hey, I promised something, I delivered that promise. And when you're leaving the stage, audience is still feeling, yes, I've learned these 5 techniques, now I have to implement that in my life. That's the reason I've invested my 45 minutes here. Audience is still in the content. One is go back to start. That is possible only when you are starting and organized. If you're starting, how is the Josh? How is the Josh? How is the Josh? Then you cannot go back to the start again. Don't do that, please. Another way of ending the presentation is, if you're not going to speak only once or twice, if you strongly believe in this, that everyone is a public speaker, it's my responsibility to work hard in my life, but it is my responsibility only to share the learnings with the world, so they also learn from me. I also gain authority. I also grow in my life, personally, professionally, financially, inwardly. Only by sharing. We are the only species on the planet Earth who can share like this the way we can, with the help of languages. No other species can do that. There are very limited languages. We can do that. But unless and until we are not speaking, we are underutilizing that power. So, if you are speaking several times, then why not to have your own signature way of ending the presentation? Signature style. Whenever I end my videos, I always say, this is Premodaka signing out until we meet again. Or whenever I share a story, especially in schools and colleges, I always end like this. As a storyteller, I believe that whenever I share a story, there is someone sitting in the audience who wanted that story more than oxygen. Tell me, just type O in the chat box if you feel that, Praveen. Yes, Piggy Bank story is for me. It's more for me. It was more than oxygen for Piggy Bank story. So all those people are writing O in the chat box. Also, observe the watch. It's exactly 12:30. At the start of this session only, I told you that we will spend 90 minutes. Public speaking is all about starting on time and finishing within the time. So we have taken exactly 90 minutes to understand four-step system of public speaking.